a special village board meeting to order. Let the record reflect that it is Tuesday, June 9th, 2020. My clock has it at 8:35 p.m. Before we continue, I'd just like to say thank you for your patience this evening. There was some inclement weather that was targeting Tinley Park, and we had to delay our committee of the whole meeting. We also ran into some technical difficulties, so thank you for your patience this evening. This meeting is being conducted pursuant to Governor Pritzker's executive order suspending certain requirements of the Open Meetings Act due to the COVID-19 pandemic. All the materials for this meeting are available on the village website, and we recommend the members and the public to follow along via the agenda that was posted. For all items regarding public comment, after the members have spoken, I will afford public comment as follows. The public was provided the opportunity to submit comments until noon today by emailing their comments to the clerk's office or by placing their written comment in the drop box at Village Hall. The public was also provided the opportunity to submit a request until noon today to the clerk's office or by placing their written request in the drop box at Village Hall to participate publicly via a live telephone call at the relevant portion of the public meeting. Finally, each vote that is taken this evening will be conducted by a roll call vote. At this time, I ask that you please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Here.
Trustee Brady.
Here.
Trustee Brennan.
Here.
Trustee Galante. Trustee Galante.
Here.
Trustee Glotz.
Present.
Trustee Mueller.
Here. Thank you. Item number 1 at this time, may I have a motion for the approval of the agenda as written or amended? Is there such a motion? Is there a motion
Trustee
for the
Bowden,
agenda
so
this evening? It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion, Jake.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glotz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Motion will carry. Thank you. Item number 2, at this time, may I have a motion to consider adoption of temporary public participation rules and procedures for this agenda? Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Trustee Brennan. Is there a second? Is there a second? Thank you, Trustee Mueller. Counselor, is there something that you're reading into the record this evening?
Yeah, 1 second. Okay. As stated in Gubernatorial Executive Order 2020-07 and 2020-10 and 2020-18 issued on the following dates, April 1st, the last of which was issued on April 1st, which collectively state that all public gatherings of more than 10 people are prohibited. Temporary public participation rules and procedures were needed to be instituted for public meetings in order to promote social distancing, as required by the aforementioned executive orders and the requirements of the Open Meeting Act. And as we discussed briefly in the COW just a few minutes ago, the idea here was obviously our meeting procedures have changed because of the COVID pandemic and the governor's executive orders. These rules, which were drafted weeks ago, but there were meeting cancellations and things like that. The idea is to mirror a reasonable set of rules to the situation we're under, as many of you are participating telephonically and or otherwise, I guess, through the internet. So that's what the idea here is. There is a Senate bill which has been approved down in Springfield, which, when signed by the governor, will take effect into law, which more clearly would define our procedures under the Open Meetings Act when a declaration of emergency has been made. So once that actually gets signed by the governor, these will essentially be moved. But until that time, we felt it was good practice to have rules that reflect the situation we're in.
Thank you, Counselor. Are there any comments from the board this evening? This item has been moved and seconded. If there's no comments from the board, I would ask, are there any written comments or requests to speak telephonically?
Yes, Mayor, there was a request to speak telephonically. If you give me 1 second here, I will get Mr. Eberhardt on the line.
Thank you.
Hello, Mr. Eberhardt?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to bring you over to the speaker, so. Go ahead, can everybody hear Mr. Eberhardt? Steve, you want to speak, please?
Do you want to wait 10 seconds for you to get to the timer?
This is the second occasion that
Okay.
Mr. Eberhard, if you could pause for a moment. Laura, let me know when you're ready, please.
Okay, I'm going over to,
Counselor, it's my understanding that the public comment this evening for this item has 3 minutes to speak. Is that accurate?
That's accurate.
Thank you. So, Laura, if we're ready to go, Mr. Eberhard, the 3 minutes will begin now.
go right ahead.
this is the second occasion that the Tinley Park board members have taken actions to impose limits on persons' rights to free speech during the public comment portion of open meetings. Remember, these are the same people who expanded time limits because they felt they did not have enough time during the 2017 and 2019 elections to speak at public comment. These are the same people, though, who, after I addressed their campaign contributions on October 1st, 2019,
Point of order.
fabricated restrictive rules to prevent further comment.
Point of order, Jake.
Those restrictive rules in December 2019.
Mr. Eberhard, Laura, can you pause this for a moment? There's been a point of order brought to the chair. It has been recommended by council at this point that this comment cannot be interrupted. There has been no personal attack lodged at this point. Therefore, the point of order is overruled. I'd ask that the deputy clerk begin to count down at this point. Mr. Eberhard, you can continue.
OTP
I make a motion to
realized
appeal that,
and
Jake.
did not like that people could complain about them, just as they had complained and do complain about others. These temporary procedures were fabricated by Mr. O'Grady and enforced at the April 21st, May 5th, and May 19th meetings.
Jake, point of order
without
again. Will you
being
please
properly
stop?
adopted by the board. They were fabricated.
Mr. Eberhard? Mr. Eberhard, if you could stop for a moment. Laura, can you please stop the timer? There's been another point of order.
Okay.
So my
Is
point,
that
of- the
Mr.
point of,
Glotz? Who is that? I'm sorry, I can't tell.
it was me, Jake. The point of order is not for Eberhardt. It was, when the last point of order was called, it was 2 minutes, 10 seconds. Laura accidentally reset the clock to 3 minutes, and then when you overruled it, and then you didn't acknowledge my motion to appeal yours, he kept speaking, and at 2 minutes again, Laura reset it again. So the clock should be roughly at about 2 minutes. Correct, Laura? Is that correct, everyone? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Now the clock is at the proper time. It was reset to 3 minutes, Jake. Thank you.
So before we continue, Laura, the clock is accurate.
The clock is at 2 minutes, yes.
Thank you. Mr. Eberhard, you can continue.
They were fabricated after Mr. O'Grady refused to read a public comment submitted via email, even though the mayor said that comment would be read by the deputy village clerk at the April 7th board meeting. The Illinois Attorney General suggested that to comply with the OMA, email comments should be read at the open meeting. When Mr. O'Grady refused to do so, a request for review was filed with the Public Access Counselor. The very next day, the Attorney General amended the suggested procedures to, quote, read the emailed comments into the record at the public meeting, unquote. Mr. O'Grady refused to do that on April 21st because Trustee Glatz and OTP objected to the content of the submission. Beware if the village hall remains closed, even now when the governor's restrictions are being relaxed. Beware if the 3-minute time limits are extended simply to silence comment to which OTP objects. There's no excuse to impose restrictions, and there's no excuse to close the village hall, considering that the March 17th and April 7th meetings were open to the public at the height of the pandemic. I suggest these rules violate First Amendment rights, yet this board has now gotten into a pattern of adopting illegal resolutions. People need to demand access to the village hall as the OMA mandates, and demand to speak freely on matters of public comment and not be silenced by the content-based restrictions that Trustee Glatz and OTP wants to impose. Thank you.
Sorry, I forgot to take myself off mute. Has the caller hung up and we've ended that call?
I'm going to end the call now. Thank you, Mr. Eberhart.
Thank you.
You had 24 seconds.
Are there any other telephonic public comments this evening? I believe there was only one regarding item 2. Sorry.
For item 2, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Um,
Mr. Mayor, this is,
Who's that, Counselor?
yeah, it's Pat Connolly. I just want to address one note from Mr. Eberhardt's comments, about them being content-based. They apply to everybody, and I can tell you in going through the last 2 months and, with the COVID pandemic and the various executive orders, things have changed rapidly. And there are situations that no one in the state had predicted. And I know that we as your council, and I know your staff, has been, diligently trying to stay up with, the most current orders that come down, very unannounced from the governor's office. And I will tell you that the orders about the Open Meetings Act have been somewhat clear from the governor, and it's that the position from the state was that they did not want villages to be meeting unless they absolutely had to, and while meeting, they didn't want a lot of people in the room, and they didn't want them to be there for very long. So any restrictions from our normal policy, that's where they came from. It came from direction from the governor's office to protect your staff, the trustees who are in the room, and even residents from being in the room. It was all about protection, in the face of a global pandemic. And that's all there is to it, plain and simple.
And Officer King.
And the officer. And I think there's been a lot of talk about, frontline workers being heroes and stuff like that. You have people that have sat in this room at risk to their own health to do the business of the village. And, creating reasonable rules to protect them, I think this board was wise in doing so, or is wise in doing so.
Thank you, Counselor. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Motion will carry. Thank you. Item 3. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes of the regular village board meeting that was held on May 19, 2020.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the regular village board meeting held on May 19th, 2020.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Thank you all. The motion will carry. Item 4. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to consider approval of the following consent agenda items.
So moved.
Is there such a motion? It's been properly moved. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, can you call these into the record, please?
Item A, consider adopting Resolution 2020-R-060, approving the Village of Tinley Park to purchase a utility easement at 6731 174th Street. Item B, consider payment of outstanding bills in the amount of $753,365.05 as listed on the vendor board approval reports dated May 22nd, 2020, and May 29th, 2020.
Thank you, Clerk. Does anybody care to remove item A or B from the consent? Let the record reflect there's none. Excuse me. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes. Motion carries. Thank you. Item 5, Trustee Mueller.
I motion we consider adopting Resolution 2020-R-043, approving revisions to the Oak Park Avenue Playbook Grant Program, the Oak Park Playbook Grant Program, as discussed in the Committee of the Whole earlier today.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Trustee Berg, I'll second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Trustee Mueller.
To support the revitalization of the legacy districts, the Village Board adopted the Oak Park Playbook Grant Program in May 2018. The program provided a series of 5 grants specifically designed to encourage downtown Tinley business owners to invest and improve their respective properties by bringing aging structures into code compliance, improving the facades and overall aesthetics of the streetscape, and attract targeted realtors to the area. The Economic and Commercial Commission has discussed several improvements to the program at their May 11, 2020 meeting, voting unanimously to make certain changes to the program with the exception of how often the grant should be capped. This was discussed at the Committee of the Whole meeting prior to this meeting. This resolution is eligible for adoption tonight.
Thank you, Trustee Mueller. Are there any comments from the board? Very good. Were there any written comments or requests to speak telephonically via or for this item? Excuse me.
No, there were not.
Thank you. If there's no comments from the board, Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion carries. Thank you. Item 6, Trustee Brady.
Yes, I'd like to have the board consider adopting ordinance 2020.
Hang on, Bill.
Well, oh, excuse me?
This is the one we're tabling this one.
Oh,
We should.
yes.
Well, yeah, we should get a motion to, if you want to make a motion to postpone it to the next meeting, Bill, I think that's probably the best way to go.
Okay. For item 6, to back up a little bit here, I make a motion to table it to the next meeting. May I get a second?
I'll second that motion, Bill.
Okay, it's been properly moved to postpone until the following meeting and properly seconded by Trustee Brennan. All those in favor, or no, this is going to require a roll still?
Yeah, I
Does it
think,
require a roll?
yeah, we should take a roll.
Yes, because
That's
it's
fine.
telephonic.
Madam Clerk, please call the roll for the motion to postpone item 6.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. Item 7, Trustee Brady.
Yes, I'd like to the board consider adopting Resolution 2020 R065, authorizing a professional service agreement between the Village of Tinley Park and the Municipal GIS Partners, Inc., which is a supplement of statement of work. I'd like to have the motion to consider a resolution.
I'll second.
Thank you, Trustee Brady. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Go ahead, Bill.
A motion to consider adopting Resolution 2020 R065, authorizing a professional service agreement between the Village of Tinley Park and the Municipal GIS Partners, Inc., supplementing statement of work. May I get a second?
I'll second that motion.
There's no second.
We already
We already did that.
we already did that, Bill.
I'm reading ahead. Okay, then.
Would you care to read the? Thank you. We've already had a motion. It's been properly moved and seconded. Would you care to read the description of this item,
I would be glad
or do
to.
you not?
Due to COVID-19 pandemic, the village has received and adjusted executive board agreements and supplementary statement of the work with GIS consortium services provided, Municipals IGS Partners, MGP. The term for this adjusted GIS agreement and supplementary statement of work is July 1, 2020 through December 31st, 2020. Funds for this expenditure are budgeted in the amount of $154,033.81 in the fiscal year 2021 budget. This item was discussed at the committee of the whole meeting held prior to this meeting. This resolution is eligible for adoption.
Thank you for reading the description, Trustee Brady.
Thank you. You're
Are there
welcome.
any comments from the board? No comments from the board. Are there any comments to request to speak telephonically for this item?
No, there were none.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion will carry. Thank you. Item 8, Trustee Brennan.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion to consider adopting ordinance 2020-0-029, amending the residential rental license by adding subchapter 129F.081 of the Tinley Park Municipal Code.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I will second that motion, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much. Go ahead, Bill.
Thank you, Trustee Mueller. The purpose of this amendment is to allow landlords the ability to conduct background checks on prospective tenants in light of Cook County's recent amendment of the Cook County Human Rights Ordinance, Just Housing Amendment, which limits the extent of landlords' background checks and places an undue burden on landlords in verifying qualification of potential tenants. This ordinance is eligible for adoption.
Thank you, Trustee Brennan. Any comments from the board? Any written comments or requests to speak telephonically?
No, there were none.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion will carry. Thank you. Item number 9. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to consider adopting ordinance 2020-0-030, increasing the number of Class E liquor licenses that can be issued in the village for Bandana's Barbecue, located at 16200 Harlem Avenue. Is there a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Mueller. And it's been properly seconded. Thank you all very much. The proposed ordinance would increase the number of Class E liquor licenses in the village by 1. The applicant purchased the former Applebee's building in December of 2019 and is requesting a Class E liquor license for the ability to sell beer and wine for on-site consumption to restaurant patrons. The respective license will be for the following business and location: Bandana's Barbecue at 16200 Harlem Avenue. Video gaming is not permitted with this license class. Upon approval of this ordinance, the total number of Class E liquor licenses in the village will be 6. This ordinance is eligible for adoption. Are there any comments from the board this evening? There's no comments. Have there been any written comments or telephonic comments received?
No, there were not.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Abstain.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Motion will carry. Thank you. Item number 10. What was the decision in the committee of the whole? Is this being postponed until the next meeting?
Correct.
So at this time, I'd ask for a motion to consider postponing item 10 for the Class A AV liquor license for 350 Brewing until our next board meeting. Is there a motion?
So moved to June 16th.
I'll second the motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded. Please call the roll for postponement of item 10.
Trustee Berg.
Abstain.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Thank you very much. That item will be postponed until June 16th. Item 11, receive comments from the staff this evening. Are there any comments from our staff?
Yes.
Yes, Mayor. This is Treasurer Bettenhausen. I want to announce that on June 3rd, this week, or last week, I'm sorry, June 3rd, we posted the redevelopment plan and project, including the eligibility report for the proposed 159th and Harlan TIF on our website. So it is available for public inspection.
Thank you, Treasurer Bettenhausen. Were there any other comments from staff?
Yes, this is Pat, Mayor. Just wanted to let everybody know we're currently working on a soft reopening of the Village Hall, hopefully on June 15th. Based on some of the modifications that we have to make on workspaces, this will be fluid. So we're working with Public Works to accommodate social distancing factors and also modifying workspaces for a safe environment. So we'll keep everybody apprised of how that is going, but we've been prepping the staff since last week on this.
Thank you, Pat. Anything else from staff this evening?
Mr. Mayor, it's Forrest.
Go ahead, Forrest.
I'd just like to very quickly congratulate firefighters who have recently completed their probation and have been assigned as certified firefighters for the fire department. They will receive their badges and their helmet shields this week. Especially, I'd like to thank our training staff, their mentors, and the members of the department who assisted in their probation. Those 5 firefighters are Christian Andrews, Chandler DiStefano, Jacob Litkenhouse, Tyler Mueller, and Brandon Rojas. We welcome them as official certified members of the Tinley Park Fire Department effective this week. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Congratulations to them. Anything else from staff? Dave, you doing okay?
Maybe not.
Maybe not.
He's asleep.
Yes, I am. I was on mute. Sorry.
All right, no problem. Glad you're doing well. Thank you. We'll move on to item 12 then. Receive comments from the board.
I did, Jake. I just want to thank all the staff and the board members that have been coming to the meetings during the COVID. Pat, everyone here has done a great job on keeping everyone safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else from the board? I'll close with just a couple of shout outs. Last Tuesday, as you're all aware, there was a peaceful protest in downtown Tinley Park in our Tinley Park Police Department, Tinley Park Fire Department, our EMS personnel, all our telecommunicators and 911 dispatch. Basically, our entire public safety umbrella responded, and they did a professional job. I'm very proud of the work they did. And part of that evening, it was fairly warm out there, and at one point there was a need for hydration. So I was looking for something to do. I went to Walgreens on 171st and 84th Avenue. So I was trying to buy some Gatorade, and the managers at Walgreens there, Jay and Sharon, were very accommodating. And they even had their clerk, Thomas, help bring out some of those beverages out to my vehicle. But the most moving part, I think, of that little experience was as I was walking through the business, a resident pulled me aside and asked if I was a police officer. I said, no, I was not. And then as I did that, I said I was just helping out. I'm an elected official. And then she said, well, we came up here. We had heard on the scanner that they were looking for hydration. And my husband and I drove up to Walgreens and we wanted to buy some water. Would you be able to transfer that to our police personnel and those that are acting as first responders? So the Martin family, specifically Brenda, I'm sorry, I forget your husband's first name, but the Martin family, I just want to say thank you for being exactly what Tinley Park residents are all about. We respond to the adversity, and we respond in a positive way. And the members of the public safety umbrella, thank you as well. So to all those individuals, we appreciate all of your help. And yeah, so kudos to them. Thank you. Item 13, we'd like to receive comments from the public. It's my understanding that there is one telephonic public comment this evening. Have there been any written comments as well?
No written comments, Mayor, but there is one telephonic.
Okay. And the gentleman has 3 minutes as well.
That's correct.
I will get him on the line now.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Eberhardt, you are on the line, and you are good to begin speaking.
All right, after lengthy discussions with a federal judge today, the village begrudgingly agreed to let me speak for 3 minutes on a topic of my choice, in essence to avoid issuance of a preliminary injunction against the village. Pay to play is alive and well in Tinley Park. In 2018, Rory Group LLC contributed $5,000 to Friends to elect Michael Glotz. On June 4th, 2019, on motion of Mr. Glotz, the village board approved a $3,000 a month contract with Rory Group for lobbyist services. Then on August 9th, One Tinley Park accepted a $1,000 contribution from a Thomas Mannion. In fact, Mr. Mannion is the manager and the only employee of Rory Group, but nobody from OTP wanted Mr. Mannion's relationship out there in the public because he was working vehemently was an integral part of the OTP campaign activities. Mr. Glotz and OTP campaign funds benefited from Lenny's and its associated companies and friends prior to the approval of the gaming and liquor licenses. $2,500 was given to Glotz from Lenny's own corporations. Over $19,000 went to OTP from Lenny's own corporations, the owner of the Dunkin' Donuts and Lenny's stations, and the vice president of ACEL Corporation, who provides all of Lenny's video gaming machines. Last Friday, the village posted a lengthy letter on the village Facebook page denouncing the counter-protesters' statements on June 2nd, saying that they made racist, sexist comments and they were meant to bully demonstrators. The village promised, quote, anyone engaging in those activities will be dealt with in accordance with all criminal findings and our village ordinances, unquote. Commentators on the thread claimed that some of those counter-protesters came from Local 150, Mr. Glotz's union, and others worked at Riza Ford. The counter-protesters were packed together primarily on the porch and in front of Primal Cut. Riza, 150, and Primal Cut are all campaign contributors to OTP. Prior to the April election, One Tinley Park accepted a $1,000 donation from Primal Cut. On June 4th, this village board approved video gaming license for Primal Cut. And then after the approval on August 8th, Primal Cut made a $2,668 in-kind contribution to One Tinley Park. Mr. Mayor, I suggest that any investigation with regard to the June 2nd protest should start with Trustee Glotz, what he knew, what he did, and if and how his campaign contributors were involved in what the village described as those despicable acts. Thank you.
Thank you. Laura, can you end the call, please?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Eberhardt.
Bye, Steve.
Thank you, Laura.
We've hung up.
Thank you. So there's no other public comments this evening, I assume?
That was
No,
great
there's not.
comment.
Thank you. If not, we'll move on to item 14. At this time, I'd ask for a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss the following items. A, the collective negotiating matters between the public body and its employees or the representatives or deliberations concerning salary schedules for one or more classes of employees. B, the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. Is there a motion?
This is Trustee Berg, so moved.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second the motion. Trustee Brady?
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Trustee Berg.
Yes.
Trustee Brady.
Yes.
Trustee Brennan.
Yes.
Trustee Galante.
Yes.
Trustee Glatz.
Yes.
Trustee Mueller.
Yes.
Thank you. The motion to adjourn into executive session is carried, and let the record reflect it's 9:10 p.m. There shall be nothing coming out of executive session for the public this evening, so that will consist our board meeting. Thank you all very much.